Hey there friends, Dave Paulides, CanAm Missing Project, copyrighted edition for our video channel. This is a missing person segment. Thank you for being here. And give you an update on the movie, Missing 411, the UFO Connection. If you look at the description of this video, you're going to see a series of links that will show you how to pre-order that for online. If you want to get an online edition, please do it now. And if you want a DVD or a Blu Ray, order it from our site, nabigfootsearch.com. So, a little update on the film. Every once in a while, Angie and I will have people over to the house, and I owed this friend of mine here in northern Montana a favor. I had him over and I played the movie for him. Just him, me and Angie. And he had seen The Hunted 3 times and he loved it. And he said, Dave, at the end of the movie he said, Dave, you've officially blown my mind. At the end of the movie he said, I'm speechless. I gotta go watch this thing 3 more times. You've done some things in here that I've never thought of. He was speechless. He goes, it's so much better. He said the music, the storyline, he said, was so compelling I can't even tell you. Now I'm not doing this to brag, because when a movie's new, it's important to the producer, director, people who put the movie together to get the feedback on it. Hopefully every movie I learned something from it. And I think I have. I've learned so much in these 3 movies I can't even begin to tell you. And then as you go ahead, you hope you don't make a hiccup and take 10 steps back. But I don't want to sound too optimistic, but so far, everything in this movie I'm hearing from the people who aren't connected to it is really exceptional, and I'm very happy so far. Now, there's going to be people out there who probably aren't going to be interested in the storyline or the topic and may find it boring, I don't know, but it could go a long ways towards bringing the public a little closer to our world and maybe getting some people to buy into listening to us when we tell people to do certain things, like at Christmas time, go out and buy a personal locator beacon for a family member that goes hiking in the woods, fishing in the woods, hunting in the woods. $200 to $300, make the best investment of your life. And it's about the size of a cell phone. You can get them at REI. You can buy them online on Amazon. They all work just fine. They've saved thousands of lives. Thousands of lives. So, I don't sell them. It's not about me. It's about saving lives. And that's the most important thing. So, tonight, today, this morning, wherever you're at, France, UK, Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, Alaska. These are places I've heard of. Kazakhstan. I've heard from people all over the world in the last month. And it's quite an awakening to understand how many people are truly interested in the topic and really can't get to you sometimes to tell you how interested they are. So when they do get to me, trust me, I'm paying attention. So thanks for all your thoughts and ideas. So let's get on to the letters, because there are some good ones this week. Hey Dave, love your executive producer, Huck. Huck is in the next room getting beauty sleep. Watching Huck grow from that first image as a puppy to an adolescent is so wonderful. Okay, I confess, I'm a dog lover. So am I. As a member of your village, I would like to share my thoughts. I remember watching a movie years ago. Don't remember the title, but it started something like this. quote, New York City is a city of over 5 million people, and this is a story of just one. Now for what ifs. What if aliens from other galaxies, or even our own, are real? What if Bigfoot coming to our planet through portals is real? What if missing people are being abducted and then returned, in many cases deceased, is real? What if ghosts, orbs, shadow people, skinwalker, etc. are real? And on I could go. Simply put, this is my view. We're on a planet with 7 billion people. If one were to ask every one of us, these billions residing on this planet, to share something that has happened to them that they cannot explain, the internet would explode. We simply have no clue what life is about. So many unknowns. Yes, I am a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Savior. So much we don't know, but I don't let it bother me. Keep doing what you're doing, and God bless. Thanks. So many things we don't know. Now, if you're here to learn about the unknown, I don't claim to be the expert at all. And if there is somebody out there that's an expert, I would steer way clear of them. Now, the part where she said, what if Bigfoot is real? Well, Bigfoot is real. I mean, we proved that with DNA. It says, what if aliens from other galaxies or even our own are real? I would say there's a 100% chance those are real. What if missing people are being abducted and then returned, in many cases deceased, is real? I do think that's real. What if ghosts, orbs, shadow people, skinwalker, etc. are real? How about this one? What if everything we just talked about is somehow interconnected? What if they're cross-dimensional beings? What if they have the ability to step in and out of different dimensions? What if that is all true? So recently I've interviewed federal agents that said those are real. I've interviewed a NASA physicist that said that those are real. So who am I to say they aren't real? I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. All those people are way smarter than me. And they say it's real. Next letter. Hi Dave, I can only share my experiences about why missing people remove their clothes. Okay, I'm listening. About a month ago, late at night, my body started to really heat up. I mean, it felt like my skin was on fire. It wasn't like I had a fever from the flu. This was different, like electric heat. I was so hot that it felt my clothes were burning my skin. I was alone in my bedroom at night, so I took off my clothes to get relief, but it didn't help. Then I strongly felt that if I stepped outside the house and into the dark yard, the cool night air would help. I didn't care and was being overwhelmed. Okay, hold on right there. Before I be stepping outside to get cool, why not go into the shower and get cool? Just turn on the cold water. I still had enough on my mind left and said to myself, do you want to get arrested? What if the neighbors see me? And willed myself to get a hold of myself and hold on. But if I was in the middle of a wilderness area and no one was around, it definitely would make sense to get away from the horrific heat and remove my clothes. True story. Okay. Question is, why'd you heat up so bad? I've read a lot of medical literature that if you eat a lot of sugar, you will wake up at night feeling very hot. So maybe you had a high sugar load that night. Just trying to think of a logical reason here. Okay, now this one's going to take some time to get through, so bear with me, and it's good. It's called A Case Supporting the Attribution of Unknown Entities to Dangerous Beings. Sorry, Dave, if this letter is long. Warning, those people who are triggered by mentioning spirituality may want to skip this. It's not that bad. I've read it before, but hold on. We have always wondered how people could disappear, as in cases that you research every day. One point that comes up repeatedly is that we have to ascribe the cause to intelligent beings. One of the researchers, who was one of the original researchers under Robert Bigelow at Skinwalker Ranch, said, quote, "It's not what, but whom. What is performing these events? The timing of these missing people events prove it. They are here 1 second and gone the next, as soon as the person with them divert their attention. In my humble opinion, these objects are fallen angels. Satan is able to transform into any form, even that of the UFO UAP, and is the master of light, as is often a large part of witness testimony." So, I understand. I went to Sunday school for years. I understand your position. But before I go on and read the rest, this is my initial feeling on that. We have craft in our military that would look like UFOs 50 years ago. Some of the bombers we have, stealth bombers, look like UFOs. They're not satanic. They're not the devil. Yet, if they were in the air 50 years ago, we might ascribe to that. Just a thought. Back to the letter. A human disguise, also human guise, and sometimes human form, is a concept in fantasy, folklore, mythology, religion, literary tradition, iconography, and science fiction, whereby non-human beings such as aliens, angels, demons, gods, monsters, robots, Satan, shapeshifters are disguised to seem human. Stories have depicted deception as a means used to blend in with people, and science fiction has used the dichotomy to raise questions about what it means to be human. These sightings seem to have changed with the times. Elves, sprites, trolls have seemed to have changed to grays, Bigfoot, UFO, etc. Christianity, Native American beliefs, Buddhism, Hinduism, and oral traditions speak of gods and spirits who descend to earth in human form to help or hinder humanity. So I don't think that those elf spirits, trolls have moved on. They're here. They're in different cultures. In my books I've written about, in certain countries, they believe that beings live inside of these giant rocks. And when they build a road, they can't move the rock or destroy the rock. The road has to go around the rock. So I think in some cultures, these beliefs are still strong. Next paragraph. In pagan religions, deities very often took the form of human disguise for various tasks. The gods, quote, of whom the minstrel sang in Homer's Iliad, watched the human spectacle as partisans and came down to earth invisible or in human guise to rule. According to the Bible, the devil can often appear to us as an angel of light when he works to accuse and deceive us. Note that the Bible doesn't say Satan is an angel of light. It says he only masquerades as an angel of light. In other words, many times Satan puts on a disguise typical of the theme of the song The Who. One of the most fascinating and strategic topics in ancient texts is the record of fallen angels and giants. They are shrouded in mystery and belong to the age of pyramids and other megalithic great wonders of the world, which they may have built before the flood. Apparently, they were worshipped as gods and directed the building of these megaliths. Sumerian history is a good example. It is rumored in tales handed down by elders that their offspring, the giants or the Nephilim, carried these epic huge blocks for the building. Certainly modern massive cranes would not be able to. It is more than a note that the world was destroyed by God's judgment in a flood, which left the world everlastingly changed. The evidence is found in geology, archaeology, tales, folklore, and traditions in many of the world's cultures. So, of course I believe in giants. They're in my book titled Bigfoot, Wild Men, and Giants. It's that giant book that I've read to you from in the Bigfoot classes. Selkie seals, which could shed their skin and turn into humans, appear in Icelandic, Irish, and Scottish mythology, as well as in the myths of the Chinook people, and are the premise of the film The Secret of the Roan Inish. The video, The Cosmic Secret, purports the same idea. St. Augustine and Christian scholars of that age agreed that the devil could manipulate a person's senses to create illusions in the mind. Now, let's read that first sentence again. St. Augustine and Christian scholars of that age agreed that the devil could manipulate a person's senses to create illusions in the mind. Well, that could also say that some people that we now think are mentally ill that have these illusions, it's created by the devil. These abductors of missing people could construct from particles of air fake human bodies that seemed quite real to those who saw them. Monsters like vampires and werewolves could purportedly take human form at certain times, and Laura gave advice as to how to detect or drive away these seemingly human creatures. Even Red Riding Hood's wolf, though presumably not a werewolf, could disguise himself as their grandmother. Stories have also told of mermaids walking in human form, such as Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid, which is based on many such legends. Changelings are often described in Western European folklore as a type of legendary creature left in place of a human infant for a variety of reasons. They were usually not able to mimic humans perfectly, thus there were various ways to reveal them. The wandering stranger in Japanese folklore may turn out as a secret prince or as a priest, and he can also be avowedly a supernatural being outside of the human race. The wardens of certain pools, for example, are believed to be snakes and are referred to as a jinn. So are the uncanny Yamabido and mountain people, said to be 7 or 8 feet tall, to be covered with hair or leaves, and live deep in the mountains beyond human habitation. Bigfoot? Question mark. The stranger is possessed of powerful magic, but he is disguised as a filthy beggar. Be careful, therefore, how you treat strangers. Generically, a stranger may be easily a dangerous incarnation of the devil or a messenger from God. For decades, stories of alien abductions, UFO encounters, flying saucer sightings, and Area 51 have led millions of people to believe that extraterrestrials are secretly among us. But what if those millions of people are all wrong? What if the UFO phenomena has much darker and far more ominous origins? For 4 years, UFO authority Nick Redfern has been investigating a strange and terrifying world of secret group within the U.S. government known as the Collins Elite. The group believes that our purported alien visitors are in reality deceptive demons and fallen angels. Let's stop there. Remember Skinwalker Ranch. Supposedly, the DIA pulled out of their research there because the issues there led to them thinking they were demonic. That was reported widely. It says the group believes that these purported alien visitors are in reality deceptive demons and fallen angels. They are the minions of Satan who are reaping and enslaving our very souls and paving the way for Armageddon and Judgment Day. They are also multidimensional, which means that they are able to traverse dimensions, appearing and disappearing at will from the earthly dimension. Well, that's kind of timely. That's exactly what I was saying. That there are these transverse dimensional beings. In the Torah, angels only appeared to men in human disguise, and never without one. The book of Genesis tells of 3 angels visiting Abraham in human disguise, and 2 visiting Lot's Sodom. Philosophy professor Peter Kreeft has asserted that when an angel wears its human disguise, human beings cannot penetrate the disguise due to the superior abilities angels possess. Kreeft cites as proof Hebrews 13:2. Some people have entertained angels without knowing it. Child and Cole summarize the angels in the Old Testament were known to be messengers of God sent to do his will, without wings in the disguise of men. Generation 18:2, when he lifted up his eyes and looked, behold, 3 men were standing opposite him, and when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to earth. Later in the chapter, we observe these men eating with Abraham and speaking with him. Yet they were not men. One was the Lord himself, and the 2 others were angels. So clearly, angels can take the form of men, or basically aliens, UFOs, etc., when desired. They are shapeshifters. Darkness and light are metaphors for evil and good. If anyone sees an angel of light, it will automatically seem to be a good being, for the correlation of evil with darkness and good with light is a powerful archetype in human history. In the Bible, light is a spiritual metaphor for truth and God's unchanging nature. So when we talk about darkness, we may be going to a place we don't want to go to. even if you take religion aside. Questions, comments. Could an increase of GHB or another chemical change in the body of the victim cause enough change in the body that it no longer has the same scent profile for canine tracking dogs to recognize? So first of all, the scent that dogs track isn't always on the body. So even if the body stopped emitting that, it's in the shoes, it's in the clothing, it's in the coats, it's in the hair. So it's not just the body. So I scratch number one. The complete silence when a UFO event occurs is described as a cone of silence in the TV show Get Smart and the movie Dune. Yet, although you mention it, Dave, I think the cone of silence that occurs during these missing events should be listed as a key point, if not already. And I can't say it's a key point because it's rarely reported. I've had people report it. It's happened to me. I've had a lot of rumors about why it may be happening, but no, I can't say it happens enough to be a profile point. It may happen every time and the people can't report it. I don't know. This comes from a letter written by John Lear. John Lear was a pilot for the CIA. Recently died. The aliens have a genetic disorder in that their digestive system is atrophied and not functional. Some speculate that they were involved in some type of nuclear war or possibly on the backside of a genetic curve. In order to sustain themselves, they use an enzyme or hormonal excretion obtained from the tongues and throats of cows or humans. No, cows and humans are genetically similar. In event of a national disaster, cow blood can be used by humans. This secretion is used with H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, and another substance, and is either spread on the skin or the hands are dipped in the solution. The alien body then absorbs the mixture and excretes the waste back through the skin. ETs smell bad. This could be the reason for missing people, abductions, and mutilations. Well, I don't handle many mutilations at all. Way less than 1/10 of 1%. So throw that out. And what about the missing people that I find that are alive? Or what about the missing people I find that are deceased but are mutilated? Seems like that theory is thrown out too. So there I've just disposed of several in just a couple minutes. And I don't want to be a naysayer, but I got to give you facts. And I got to make you think that this isn't as easy as some people think. I can tell by reading that letter that this person hasn't really done much research into my work and hasn't read many books, because they know that most of what they said there in the last 5 or 6 statements aren't true. But you had your 5 minutes of fame. I read your letter. Next letter. Hey Dave, congratulations on your new movie premiere. Well, thank you. I cannot wait to watch it on DVD since I cannot get time off to go to the premiere as I had hoped. I've been keeping up with all your videos. Today's November 30th I found very intriguing, especially since my family and I live nearby and have been all over the Grossventa. It looks like it says Grossventer Wilderness. That's not what it is. I recommended everyone to do this. Many dots have been connecting for me the second time around, along with watching your videos. The email might be premature as I'm still reading and researching the topic of megalithic technology and the Great Pyramids. However, with my schedule, I'll take quite a while for me to research to my fullest, if that's even possible. I was wanting to ask you if it's possible this could be related to missing 411. It would take hours to talk through the talking points and have piqued my interest, so I'll keep it short. Thank you. Also, I want to thank the last 2 people, including this person, who wrote letters. Very well written. You used paragraphs, and I could follow it. Please do not send me pages with no paragraphs. I can't follow it. I can't read it. So I greatly appreciate a well-written letter. And even if it's misspellings and things, just use paragraphs. Break up your thoughts. However, with my schedule, I was wanting to ask you if it's possible this could be related to 411. It would take hours. No. Leaving out names and resources citing for brevity, the idea of an ancient technology utilizing geometrics and frequencies made me think of the UAP reports. The shapes have changed over time, and some reports of humming. There's no doubt in my mind that Tesla's work has been utilized by government entities. Are they UAP humans from either past, present, or future? One point in today's video regarding the distance of 1 mile made me think of the possibility of levitation with a planetary power plant using a geometric grid and sound, which could have limited reach of a 1 mile circumference for a suspect UAP. The other connection I've noticed is the Pyramid of Giza. For many reasons, I agree with the thought that these were not originally a tomb, but repurposed as a tomb. One can conclude that it's part of a dodecahedron, dodecahedron shape and a giant electromagnetic machine using sound and also granite and water. The Pyramid of Giza being the central point. There are chambers inside that are solid granite, under the sandstone structures that may have been built later when repurposed. Also, the Nile was believed to flow closer to the pyramids than it did today, with an adjacent aqueduct flowing underneath. Not to mention the 300-foot descending passageways that did not make sense to be used for funeral processions. Add to this the idea that the ancient Egyptians that were buried in the pyramid, when repurposed, possibly believed that this was a special location to portal to other dimensions of the spirit world after death. Could mountains like Mount Shasta be an electromagnetic frequency power plant like the pyramids scattered around the earth, just hidden underground? Let me talk about Shasta for a second. There's actually books written about Mount Shasta and about a society that lives underneath that mountain. And when I did the show Vanished for the History Channel that you can watch on Amazon, there was a lot of talk that maybe these people that disappear are going under the mountain and are living there. I know this email is rudimentary compared to the complexity of these topics and the thoughts that I truly want to convey, but it would just take so much time. I hope the general idea makes sense to you. I've also thought of the connection between sound and portals in my own personal experiences. Several times I've had a paranormal experience that either begin or end with a loud popping noise or mechanical noise. Too many to recount to you, but it's happened all my life. I've always thought that these were ghosts. I'm not sure anymore. Anyways, just wanted to share and possibly hear what you think of these connections again. I hope you can understand that I'm trying to convey thoughts. I am, and they're good. God bless and God's light to you, Angie and Huck. Thank you for everything, Dave. I'm hoping to attend the conference in Golden, Colorado. I'm very interested in Sasquatch and the paranormal. Yes, January of 2023, there's a conference in Golden, Colorado. It is sold out, but we're trying to get a bigger room at the same event. And keep checking in at Sasquatch Outpost is the one putting it on. Next letter. This is about missing 411 The Hunted. Message. Hey, I was watching a movie and the part of the hunters talking about the weird sounds in the forest campsite I've totally heard before. So some people in the woods heard like a metal door close, loud clanking noise. Nobody could describe where it came from. In 2011, I think it was, my friends and I decided to drive up really far into Mount Baker. We just kept driving and taking random off-roads until we got pretty far up. We found this area in almost like a small bowl of rocks. It was very dense with trees and huge rocks. We didn't pass anyone when driving, and when exploring around the area, we didn't see anything weird, just trees. There weren't even tire tracks until we made them. The 5 of us set up 2 tents about 20 feet away from each other and a fire pit in the middle of them about the same distance away. It started to get dark, so we lit the fire and were just hanging out roasting food when we heard this crazy noise. It sounded just like the first noises in the Hunters video. Some were really loud and high-pitched, so we thought maybe a wild animal. So we moved out food and random stuff into the cars, went back into the fire, but the noise started getting really loud and closer, but with different tones that I've heard before. I've been camping all my life, too. We all panicked and ran into our tents. The noises stopped for a bit once we were inside, but then it started up again so close like it was in the tree line. Once again it went quiet, but you could hear someone walking on the rocky ground. I remember my friend yelling out to the other tent asking if everyone was outside. All night something walked around our tents. Not once did it touch our tent, but you could hear it walking around us. Once dawn started to come, the noises just stopped. I don't remember hearing anything walking away. Everything was silent. I remember when we got to our tent the day before that we didn't see or hear a wild animal. That to me was odd. Living in that area my whole life, I've always heard birds and animals in our campsite. It was just oddly silent. We packed up early, never went back. We did ask some folks in the small town about it, and all they said is they've heard it before. I do know that Sasquatch is sighted in this area, and I've known people to claim they've seen him. I don't know, but unless cougars make those sounds, which I've never heard, I would bet it was something else. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if it was a Sasquatch. Personally, it scared me so bad I stopped camping. Since that day, I've only camped once in 10 years, but in a campground. I no longer want to camp in the wild. Yeah, I understand why. But a question. So you've got two groups of people, 20 feet of each other. You could yell back and forth to each other. And you hear someone walking around your campsite. Why don't you yell to the other tent and go, hey, I'm going to count to 5, and then all of us, let's get out of our tent and see what's walking around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everyone jumps out of the tent. See what's walking around. I don't know, that's what I do. I'd probably want to have at least 4 people, but that's just me. I'd be inquisitive. So, talk about something that I don't talk about very often, but we're going to go pretty deep into it. And that's missing 411, a sobering coincidence. Now, that story is about a group of young men who disappeared, usually in a city area, and were never found alive. Almost every time they were found in a body of water. It could never be understood how they got to the water. There were never tracks to the water. There was never evidence they wanted to go in the water. It is a very, very confusing scenario. I'm going to tell you about 2 of those cases right now. First incident involves a young man named Michael Kelleher. And the story came out of Missing 411 Law, even though the story could be in Missing 411, a sobering coincidence. Kelleher was 23 years old. He went missing March 29th, 2017. He's a resident of Southborough, Massachusetts. He had a server's job at Margarita's Mexican restaurant in Northborough. On March 29th, he went to TD Arena to meet friends in Boston and watch the Celtics game. So Michael graduated from high school in Northeast Pennsylvania, played basketball and baseball as an athlete, but he loved the Celtics and basketball. He attended Kutztown University for 2 years and then moved back into the Massachusetts area. He loved his 2 dogs, Jax and Parker. Now, March 29th, he decided, 2017, the Celtics were playing the Milwaukee Bucks at the arena, and the Bucks were winning. He had been drinking, but he left the game at 9 o'clock. It was getting boring, they were losing, and he had to get back, so he was seen on CCTV leaving the arena. Outside the arena, he made 3 attempts on his phone to get an Uber. There was no connection that was ever made. Now, where are we talking about here? So Michael was from an area out in this region. This is Northborough, and that's where he worked. And this is the arena right here. That's the distance outside. This is the Boston area. So, now what he's doing is he attended, this is downtown Boston. This is the arena where he went to watch the game. This is Paul Revere Park. Keep that in mind as I tell the story. Well, Micah never got home, and his family called the police, reported him missing on March 30th. Police pinged his phone, and it last registered at Paul Revere Park at 11 p.m. Now, folks, you should wake up very quickly to this. The game was here. Phone pings here. He's not going to walk across on these freeways. That would be instant death. I've driven them. It's craziness. You're not going to do that. There's no easy way across right here. So why is phone pinged here? Nobody can understand. But just keep those thoughts. Keep looking. And that's on the opposite side of the river from the stadium. Well, police concluded that Michael must be in the St. Charles River. He's got to be. That's what they said. Even though there's no evidence he's in it. So they searched the river for 2 days, and they find nothing. Now remember, this happened on March 29th, 2017. On April 3rd, the police decide to bring in side-scan sonar in the river. And the Massachusetts State Police dive team for 2 days searches it. And friends, side-scan sonar is unbelievable. It's like you're looking through crystal clear water at the bottom of a river, in the middle of the river. It shows everything. You can't miss anything. I've seen it before. I've seen it work. It's great technology. Well, on April 16th at 8 a.m., a passerby sees something odd in the water in the St. Charles River and calls police in the same general area. So the police come out, and it's Michael. And it's confirmed by the coroner, it's Michael. And they're perplexed. There was no indication of how long the body had been in the water. There was no cause of death ever issued or released by the coroner. The police stated there was no obvious signs of violence to the body, and there was no indication of foul play. Now, Michael was found by the police, was not found by the police or searchers, but by somebody just walking by the river. And side scan didn't show his body. How can that be? His phone was never found. Why was he in the water? So, there was never indication of how long the body was in the water either. But if it wasn't in the water during the searches, where was he? Why didn't they want to say how long the body was in the water? Well, because maybe if they said only a couple days, that wouldn't make sense to anybody. Now, some people have said, well, you know, Dave, it's a body of water by a major city. This happens all the time. That's not true. I know dozens of cities that have large pieces of water in and around them, and they have none of this happening. But there is about a dozen cities in the U.S. where this is happening pretty regularly. But then other cities have nothing. And the profile of the people that this happens to, mostly young white males that are athletes, they're in phenomenal shape. Now, before we leave this, Boston has a lot of these cases right in that downtown area. It's very, very perplexing. Now, if you say, well, Dave, you know, that happens and really can't say much about it. So the case I just told you happened in 2017. So let's go back 8 years. Let's go back to 2009. And there's a case involving this young man. Take a good look at him. His name is William Hurley, 24 years old, went missing October 8th, 2009. William was raised in North Carolina. He joined the Navy out of high school and spent the majority of his time in the Navy stationed in Florida. But then in 2007, the The Navy sent him to Boston. And while he was on shore leave, he met the love of his life, a nice young lady named Claire Mahoney. And they moved in together. When he eventually got out, he got a job as a greenskeeper at Weston Community Club in Weston, Massachusetts. And in 2009, Claire and he liked to be called Will were living together in Quincy, Massachusetts. So here's Quincy right on the water, and this is the arena. And again, we're talking about the arena again. Gee, Dave, that's kind of weird. Yeah, it is kind of weird. So let's go back to the graph as I talk to you. I want you to watch it. So Will had a best friend that he worked with as a greenskeeper. And Will was known as Mr. Reliable. Yes, that was his nickname. Well, his best friend was a man named Brendan Venti and invited him to the Bruins game at TD Arena versus the Anaheim Ducks. Started at 7:30 that night. Now, Will had been up since 4:30 that morning because Mr. Reliable always got up early and was there early to work at the country club. Well, at the end of the first period, Will was exhausted. He told his buddy Brendan that he was calling Claire to pick him up. And he left the arena and he called Claire. Now, coming from Quincy, it's not that far of a drive, so she said, yeah, I'll pick you up. And she drove to the arena. 2 blocks from the arena, Claire called Will and asked, hey, what's your exact location? Claire heard someone yell 99 Nashua Street, just west of the arena. Well, Claire was less than 1 minute away, and Will had stated on the phone that his battery was about to go dead on his phone. So, let's get this right. Here's the arena. Here's Nashua Street, right there. See it? Very close. So, Claire turns on to Nashua Street. Phone goes dead. And Claire pulls over, waits, doesn't see anything, and starts driving Nashua Street up and down, honking the horn, trying to get Will's attention wherever he was. Can't find him. She eventually parks her car and walked the area for an hour. Eventually, she left, went home, and called the Boston and Quincy PD. Police said that they'd have to wait till morning to get and then call it in to file a report. On October 9th, Claire filed an official missing persons report with Boston police. Same day, Claire and Will's mom left posters in the area of the disappearance. That same day, Boston PD put 2 boats in the Charles River looking for a body. Yes, the same Charles River where Michael Kelleher disappeared. So Boston PD's in the river, they're looking. Well, the police department said that that same day they found Will's phone busted into a million pieces in the area, but they would never say where or how it got broken up. Boston police interviewed many family and friends, and all considered Will very stable, ultra reliable, and that this incident is, quoted, stunningly out of character. What is happening here at this place? What is happening? Well, October 14th, Boston PD officer on patrol on Nashua Street, right there, right near the Suffolk County Jail, saw a body in the river. And 25 feet from land, a harbor boat goes out and pulls Will's body out of the water. His wallet and his keys are on the body. The DA spokesperson said that police divers scoured the river for 4 days and never found anything. Here's the quote from the DA. It appeared the body was in a river a couple of days. What? Read that to me again, Dave. It appeared the body was in the river a couple of days. Well, where was Will for 4.5 days? He went missing on 10/8 at 8:30. He was found deceased 10/14 at 2:30. So total time he was missing 5 days and about 6 hours. Authorities stated no foul play, no injuries to the body, no release on the cause of death. Cell phone going dead is too timely of an incident for me to ignore. And the number of times the victims I've written about in Missing 411 a sobering coincidence, I can't tell you how many times the phone goes dead. Why wouldn't the police say where the cell phone was found? Seems like kind of a critical point. Why would they not say? Now, I've said this 1,000 times in my conferences and things, and I'll say it to you. That book I wrote about, Missing 411, A Sobering Coincidence, essentially is 99% about single white males, 18 to 35. Athletic, smart, humble, and polite. Which begs me to ask the question, why are there no Black, Hispanic, Asian people in that group? Why are there no alcoholic, drug addicts, dementia patients in that group found dead in the same area? And I'm talking about the greater Boston region, because there's a lot of everything I just said. But no, there's just that white male category, including 12 other locations in the United States and 8 other locations in the world where this is going on. No, I'm sorry, it makes no sense. Because the homeless people, if you're using drugs or alcohol, it only seems natural that sooner or later somebody's going to stumble into that water and drown. But why won't they ever release a cause of death? So I need some help from the audience on this. Michael Kelleher. You need somebody who knows his family. William Hurley, or somebody who knows Claire Mahoney. I need to talk to Will's mom. I need to talk to Michael's family. Here's what I need. Boston Coroner's Office will not release any details until the family gives written approval from somebody to come in and be the spokesperson for that family to the coroner's office, essentially giving us the right to talk to them on behalf of the family. There's a million questions I'd like to ask the coroner's office about this. And in past incidents, I've said this, and I'm going to tell you again. When Ben was playing hockey, he was playing on the East Coast. In that greater Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey area. That's what I'll say. And before I arrived for those games, I got a message on email asking me if I was going to attend Ben's game there. And it came from a coroner. I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. And this coroner said, I'd like to meet with you. I said, okay. So I went out there, met with this coroner for about 3 hours. What they told me was, Dave, you're onto something huge that we all know is happening, but nobody wants to talk about it. We can't find the cause of death many of the times, and we're scientists. We're paid to do this job. We're the best in the world. Why can't we find this? And then they tried to get me in to speak at a coroner's conference about GHB in the body and about these deaths in the water and different ways to investigate them. And I was to connect the dots for them during the presentation. And they gave me the name of the conference and they said, Dave, apply. I did apply, and no conference organizers wouldn't have me. That's fine. The last thing this coroner said was, Dave, you need cooperation from the family on this, because you need to see the documents that we've seen. Because somebody needs to make this public. Because the families aren't getting this information. The families don't know what you know, and they need to know. And there are no true investigative journalists in that Boston area that are putting this together on the front page of the Boston Globe. And I get that. So I need your help. Anybody knows Michael Kelleher's family? He used to work at a restaurant in Northborough. He lived in Southborough, Mass. And then William Hurley. I know that Claire and him lived in Quincy. He worked at a country club in Weston, Mass. So don't send me any notes about it if you just have periphery information, because I'm not going to publicly go out and try to harass the parents on this. But if somebody could talk to the parents and say, this guy's credible, he has about 20 years of research of missing people, and you need to hear from him. And if they would agree to talk to me, I'd love to talk to them. And I would personally fly to Massachusetts to meet with these coroners if I got the approval from the families. It's a topic that's ate at my heart for years. And I have great compassion for the families that have lost these young men. So I know the audience is big out there. Maybe you could help me. And again, my email is CanAmMissing, like Canadian American, CanAmMissing@yahoo.com, if you want to get a hold of me. And I read all those emails. So anyhow, Christmas is coming up. Do not buy my books on Amazon, eBay. You're going to get ripped off. Only buy our books from our site, which is NA, like North America Bigfootsearch.com. And all of our books are still in stock. And this is within the next week or two, we're going to start running out of books and won't get them restocked until next year. So if you're going to buy some presents for people for the holidays, do it now. And then I would say we also have the poster for sale. We have hats and knit caps when it gets really cold out. Yes. So that's my pledge for support. And of course, pre-order the DVDs and Blu Rays from us, NABigfootsearch.com. And in the meantime, please do something good for people, whatever that might be. Even a small thing. Go buy a turkey, a frozen turkey, and take it to a homeless shelter. And make one family happy. A small thing. And feel good about yourself because you did something for somebody. But thanks for being here. I appreciate each one of you. You can follow me on Twitter at David Paulides at CanAm Missing. Also follow me on Truth Social. And we have almost 400 YouTubes videos on this channel you're watching right now. Just click on the videos right under the screen. Click on the videos and you'll get to all of the videos. If you look at the #1 pinned comment, there's also a list of videos. The #1 comment there, that's usually mine. Look at it. So anyhow, have a great day, have a great week. Be nice to your family and be nice to your community. Paulides out.